So I can begin introducing myself. Hi, my name is Madalena. Madalena Dragon because I'm very connected with the dragons. That's also why my background, you can see the dragons. Um, I always describe myself differently whenever I'm asked to. I always like to say that I'm just another human on Earth, just like everyone else. And I have been on a path of discovering that I have these gifts and these abilities that I'm very passionate to share with others and with the world. I work with light language a lot, and I'm also like a space holder and energy healer. Uh, Lately, I've also been very passionate about doing somatic work and really grounding and and holding space for people like very multidimensionally but also very humanly. So uh, I'm also an artist, and I have all of these things that I gather together whenever I share or hold space for someone or for myself. So it's very like multidimensional, not just in a spiritual woo-woo energetic way, but just in the sense that is very that many different aspects are integrated in the work that I do. Um, but yeah, I always like to start and to finish with I'm just a human on earth, just like everyone else. I don't believe in hierarchy. Um, so that's why sometimes I don't even like calling myself a coach or a mentor, but maybe just a mirror and a friend and a space holder. Thank you, John.
Fabulous. That's a really fabulous introduction. Thank you. And I feel that's one of the dimensions um, of why I love working with you is um, the human side, right? It can never be lost, and so much of the journey that we're on is about um, honoring like that whole human aspect of us. And for me, that's as it says in my top, John. It's like every dimension of my humanness as much as my um, metaphysical aspects. And yeah, I found your incredible membership group, your activation community. Is what's the title of it? I should know. I'm in it every day. um, that's what I love the most. I really love, if you can't tell already, just leaving voice notes each day and sharing my human reflections. And I realize in my life there's few people and few places that I would share that in a trusted space, and having full awareness that as your work grows, as you grow and touch many more people, that likely those messages that I share will both be heard by them when they look back, and also may help them. That maybe I'm also helping a future version of me reflect back on the journey. Um, and so yeah, I was sharing with you today some of the human challenges that I was going through with setting up a training course and setting up a membership group. And so it's so funny. I felt I spent so long. I think I spent about 10 minutes leaving almost like a little podcast, a voice note in your membership group. And all I was trying to get to was that human emotion. I just wanted to say I was a bit frazzled. I was a bit like, you know, Zoom links didn't work and I couldn't get emails to people. And I felt like I was spiraling for just a few hours, just 2 or 3 hours yesterday. And yet nothing, really bad happened. And other than it just spent a lot of time sorting it out. And that's what I loved, was a place I could go and say, this was my experience. This is what happened, and then begin the reflection on the lesson. And I knew that sharing in your membership group allows me um, to both me reflect out loud and then to hear your and other people's opinions and their reflections about what it is to go through these big journeys and and be a human on that journey, and for these things, these obstacles and challenges to be valid, you know, to see the opportunities in all of them without having to bypass them or, you know, gaslight myself or ignore them. Um, so yeah, I'm really grateful for your membership and also for connecting with you. What feels like a long time ago, but I think we only met a few months ago now, 2, 3 months. I can't remember. um, and I'd love to hear a little bit about uh your journey of content creation, because I see parallels with your pace in me. Like it's there's a, you know, quite a few people out there creating almost daily, um and you're on a little bit of a break just now, and I'm really interested in your perspectives, like your experience of both the kind of hyper modes of creativity and then your experience recently of slowing a bit as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Just thank you so much for sharing all of that. I appreciate that so much. Like, there are so many things I want to touch on that you shared, because, like, even you sharing about your experience, like how you feel in the membership and with my own energy, it's like you are reflecting this remembrance. And that's why I called it activation, because it's a place where we literally activate each other just by being us. That's
Mm.
literally what happens. And you're activating me, reminding me of why I created it in the first place and what, like, the seeding intention of it was. I found like this space between the very high spiritual people, and I don't even like to call it like that because we're literally all spiritual. Like, being human is the most spiritual thing there is. So there's not one person that is not spiritual. When we say spiritual, we mean like aware of like multidimensionality of life, like aware that there's like more to life.
Yeah.
And I feel there is a space between the people who are very awake in that way and people who are not so much. And I feel like I want to like merge and like that space. I want to make that space like more connected, so that, because it not only happens on the outside but it happens within us, where it's like there is this part of me who like sees all these things and feels all these things, but then there's this human part of me who also struggles and has emotions and like goes through stuff. And how can we like hug both of them and understand that like we are literally both, that that it's okay to be both in this beautiful and more balanced spectrum, which is sometimes also not balanced, because that's literally also what it means to be human, is that we are not always balanced, and that's okay. And so thank you for sharing that, because you're just like reminding me of like the main intention that I had for the space, that I saw like I needed it and so many other people needed it. Um, like a few years ago, I've also been in like very energetic spaces where we were just doing quantum healing and grid work and stuff like that. But there wasn't space for the human, for the integration, for the processing, for the emotions, and for all of that. And I felt like I needed to be the one bringing that forth and creating a safe space for us to explore like both these aspects of the very spiritual and the very human, and bringing them together. So yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that.
It's beautiful.
And thank you so much, seriously. And yeah, and then as I was like just feeling the space of how to share and all of that, like how we could add value and have this safe space, I just had the idea of creating like voice notes and like doing like this podcast where I can literally just grab my phone and record wherever I am. And that feels for my human so much easier than like, okay, I need to record a video and prepare all the equipment and do all the things, you know. It's like, no, I get to just grab my phone and record. And that's easier, that's more accessible, that's, you know, like it's right there, just press record. And in that way I also feel that it brings us into a deeper like sharing and more vulnerable like connection where we get to share voice notes between each other. So I really loved your reflection on that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, thank you for creating a safe space. And I felt that today, especially. You heard me walking next to a road, and it's next to some really beautiful trees. But the kind of content creator in me was like, "Oh no, what about background noise?" Or "Oh no, what about people are going to see me?" Although I'm less worried about that now. I used to be in the past. And I was just drawn to this ease and flow, like this ease and flow. It's like I gravitate towards this way of expressing myself because it's one press for me, and I'm sharing, and I think it also um raises like my bar on expectations of things that I deem to be worthy in my life of connecting with and sharing with every day. Because if it's not ease and flow, what is it? Like, why isn't it? Why can't it be? Um, and yeah, I love sharing sharing all the positive and the very human aspects, the negative and the sometimes these blips of like fear and anxiety that we have, and just experiencing that and allowing it to be there. And um, I feel that journaling aspect, that kind of diary aspect, really powerful. And I I immediately started reflecting it in my group. Although, I think I told you, I can't record voice notes on my membership group, and I was like, I'm gonna find a way like to make it easy for my members too. Um, and and they've because when we lead by example, when we share that human side of us, it also like encourages others to do the same, right? And they feel that it's safe to do it. And you're so strong at that, you just lead at that, right? You just go, here's the thing, I'm going to do the thing myself, you're going to follow it or not, it's up to you, you choose. And I think that's a lovely way of leading by example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I really appreciate you so much. And yeah, like for example, for me, the platform that I use for my website and membership and all of that also doesn't have the thing where we can share voice notes. So I was like, okay, I really feel I'm meant to do this. So how can I make this the easiest? And I had some ideas of like using Discord or Slack or other platforms, and I was like, but I don't really love those that much. I do like Telegram and I use it almost every day. So let me do that because that's kind of easy for me. So yeah, I went with that. And you know, like life is already so complicated in so many ways. We get to make it easier. And I feel that when we make it easier, like when we make it easier in terms of technical stuff and avenues that we use to create, then like the channeling and the energy flows like more easily and naturally as well, because like we're not putting so much pressure and effort for it to be perfect or high quality or like whatever, you know. And
Yeah.
I feel this also is so important for us to remember. humanity of it all, that yeah, you're recording and there's background noise and we can hear cars, but like that helps me connect with your humanness so much more than if you're just like in on your studio recording with the lights and with everything. Like, you know, it's more tangible, more human, more, you know,
More
like
real.
more
Yeah.
grounding. Like, yeah, real. Like this is live. This is how we do it. Like I'm walking my dog at the beach, like for me, and I'm like, oh, I just had like I feel called to record the podcast right now, and I do it. I have recorded podcasts before when I'm at a shopping mall, and I'm like, oh, I feel inspired. Let's press record, you know, and yeah, we get to be that human. Like we get to take like the pressure off and share and show up in that way. And you know, like this conversation, it's funny that it's starting like this because I haven't really answered your question, but this is like this, it's about this. It's like when we sometimes put so much pressure to show up in a certain way and have these standards and all of that, then like the true essence of what we have to share can get a little lost because we are so exhausted from doing everything else. So when we make that easier, then what wants to flow through flows through more naturally. So maybe this is also why both me and you have been feeling this calling to like slow down and maybe take a break from social media or from posting so much. And it's funny that in these days, since I started feeling that I was supposed to do that, I resisted so much. This was like, I think it was 1 week ago. I resisted like crazy. I was like, no, like, I'm literally the embodiment of my message and I'm telling people to show up. Like, I need to show up. Like, I can do this. Like, why is this happening? But then, like, I had people from the outside telling me, I had multiple oracle card readings telling me that, my partner telling me that, my friends telling me that. And I'm like, okay, something, maybe I should listen.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm stubborn and maybe I should listen. And like, and then what started happening was I would try to post and like any other day, nothing would come. It would be crickets, me and crickets. And I was like, dude, I just want to post something. And it's like, it just, nothing comes. It's like so weird. And the only place that I've been feeling like sharing that is natural is like to record the activation podcast because I'm not recording it with my microphone and like no, I'm literally recording it on my phone. And so I've been able to do that. That still feels aligned, but everything else had to stop for a moment.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing the the prompts that you're receiving, like the messages, you're receiving it from lots of different angles to change your pattern, at least, or at least to reflect on it. Um, and I think you said this, maybe I'm paraphrasing, but that stopping is also action, and that receiving is an action. And if I was to learn one thing from ever, from the time that I've known you to the for the time that I will know you in the future, if that was one lesson I could learn, it's like I know I've spent lifetimes trying to learn that lesson, that receiving is action, and that it is a gift to be able to receive. And when you describe like holding your phone up and talking to it, or like using your earbuds, or whatever you're using as you're freely walking around, it's like it's closer to the heart. It's like the mind's not really thinking much, right? That it's not, your mind isn't worrying about who's seeing what people think of you as you're talking. It's like your heart just has a voice. And that's how I feel when I speak in your membership group. And it it really helps me reflect on all the times, both in the past some of the lessons I have learned and some of the lessons I'm now learning, about how to reflect on that. Like the closer I can get to my heart having a voice, the easier and flow I feel, and the easier it is to create. And yet I also know that my heart has to both give and receive, and so I have to be able to give for a moment, for a period of time, and then I also have to receive lightly for, you know, a similar, if not longer, period. Um, one example was, what, you know, I'm going to America tomorrow, um, just for 4 days. I would, so what I used to do, I was like, I was Jon Binnie. I create a song every day, no matter what. So I would months ago, I have started buying all little bits of equipment, like a little mixing desk and a microphone and a little guitar. And so to try and control the situation and to take with me to like a hotel room, or if I was recording outside, all the equipment I needed to be able to keep doing that thing. Um, and and I did it many times. And then uh, I tried it once without all that, and I really loved it. I was like, wow, like I had a week off. That was great. That felt really good. And I remember doing, I remember recording a little, like just a 5 minutes, little 5 minutes of video each day as a journal, because I wanted to journal the experience. And it did take quite a few days, at least the first 3 or 4 days, for me to really relax into just being able to not, you know, be comfortable not creating, not constantly pushing, not trying to control the situation. And I also became intensely aware of like my sensitivity, um, both as a human and like the metaphysical aspects of me massively heightened. I came into this kind of state where I was like, I remember I took some little crystals to my hotel room, and I remember feeling the energy so sensitively in the hotel, because I wasn't like so just focused on the next thing. Okay, Jon, what are you creating and when? That wasn't happening. And instead of that busyness, I had this beautiful gift of receiving. And ironically, sometimes in the pursuit of being able to, you know, deepen our practice and activate ourselves, I found myself in creation mode as an attempt, as some kind of like logical way of trying to get there. And yet, actually, what I needed, and I called it this, I called it a vision quest. And it's like, because I love the idea of a vision quest where you don't know really what the answer is that you're seeking, but you know that when you go on the quest, you will receive the vision, you receive both the question and the answer. And I did, I received both. And it was absolutely this. It was this ability to, from that moment on, as like, these opportunities I get will be presented to me at the right times, and I will take those opportunities to take a break, and I will go on a little quest, whether I'm traveling or not, and I'll just take time to receive, and then reflect on that. How is that going to change my my day to day life? Like, what action will I take? And it's always a stopping. It's I don't do Sundays now. I don't create songs on Sundays. That was at least one thing.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, I feel so many of us. Again, I also see like there are also like two groups of people, like light workers and star seeds, and in the spiritual community, where some of us are still like hiding and not able to like show up and record and share their gifts, and then there are others of us who like do it kind of almost too much, you know, and then also need to like stop and understand that the world is not gonna like go down if we stop for a moment, and that like we need to master both. We need to master the coming out of hiding and sharing our gifts. And this is what I do. This is what I have to offer. This is how I think. This is my experience. But also I don't need to put so much pressure on myself. I to be of service to others is also to just take care of me, to lean back and relax and receive. Because the more I do that, the more naturally I have even more to share from that. So I feel in different phases of our lives, we need to kind of master one or the other. And then we also like after like for me and you, it's like we both mastered the part of like showing up every day. That one is like check. I got that. I know how to do that. Check. But now, okay, that one is like I got that one. So maybe now I can learn how to also lean back and receive and maybe feel the results coming in from our action without taking that much action and understanding that just being present is an action of itself and receiving is an action of itself. And for people who are very like giving naturally, to receive can be almost like oh, I'm so used to giving, I want to give, I want to help, but also let me lean back. It's like that saying, like energy workers also need energy work. Energy healers also need energy healing from other people that we receive and we relax. It's like being a massage therapist that is like always massaging people, but then it's also nice to receive a massage, like, and so we also, it's important that we also master that, and then that we master like the balance of both, like to really feel like when I feel called to show up and it's natural and it's there. And maybe even when it's not natural and I need to like there's like a little that I move through, or when it's like no, like shh, silence. Just look at the flowers, just be with the dogs, just be with the kids, just be in nature, just like shh, like shh, like to tune out the noise that says that we need to produce more in order to create more results. This is also the difference of the human doing and the human being, right? Like we are not human doings, we are human beings. So I love this conversation and this spectrum of balance between the creating, but also the leaning back and receiving. Um, and again, in different phases of our lives, sometimes we see more results meaning in terms of how we feel, how many clients and people we help, the feedback that they give us on the help we have given them, and also like on money and resources and opportunities that come to us. Sometimes that happens through the action and through the like, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it. I'm tired, but I'm going to push forward. But also sometimes it comes from us like, okay, I give it to God, I give it to universe, like I lean back, I receive, I stop, I slow down, and it comes in both ways. And it's beautiful to be able to sense what we need and to honor that and then to receive in that way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's really, it's really powerful. It's really beautiful. I, as you spoke, I was, I was drawn to the experiences I've had where I've been unable to receive compliments or praise for my work, either from others or in particular from myself. And so much of that is self-love, and I feel like so much of this conversation is about our self-love, um, and the doing, the doing word of love, that love is an action. Um, and this morning, the first thing I opened on my phone this morning, and I kind of knew what it was because I had a notification um, from my website, and it said, "Oh, Jon, you've got some feedback from one of your clients." And I thought, I'm really excited to receive this. I want to open it now, and it's the only thing I'm going to look at before my 5 a.m. run, because I want to receive that, and I want to read the message and nothing else in my mind, and just have that echo in my mind for about the next 40 minutes. And so I read it, and it was so beautiful. It was from uh, one of my training, my higher self foundational training members, and they just explained about how they felt I was very humble as a teacher, and that I my exploration of this wonder and magic of this universe, that they found that really infectious, that they really loved that about me, because it ignited that childlike exploration in them, and that they loved the course. They said that the course was fun, even though it was a training course, which it never occurred to me that they were that they could be mutually exclusive. Um, and so I just sat with that, and even after I'd been for a morning run and had seen the stars in the morning, and I was reflecting on it again and just receiving that beautiful energy. Um, when I got back, I did some work to put it onto my website, because this was and that was explicit when they shared it. It's like, this is for my website, and anything you put in here is for me to share, and it's up to you if you want to share or not. And and then I got to do it again. I got to like just receive that again, and it was really funny because it had quite an effect on me, because I didn't feel like I wanted to just go and start creating more. Like, and it didn't make me want to start running another course so I could get that testimonial again. I wanted I want Jon, I want the human of me to keep practicing this ability to receive these achievements and to look back. Like I've craved for these moments for years, to not for people to praise me, but for me to allow myself to see the what I've achieved. Um, and and I was also seeing myself on the airplane tomorrow doing some work with the other testimonials and just spending a few minutes. And I have found like this really ease and flow thing where you can just like go into gallery, you do a little copy and paste from the image of the testimonial, and I just paste it on my website. And it's like it's done, and it's all on my phone. And then I just need to get in the practice of like reading like really reading it, like really absorbing it, feeling like I know the person and what it means to them to share these words. Um, so yeah, you can tell if I haven't said it many times now that it's a journey and a practice for me. But it was a really beautiful reflection, that came to mind as you were sharing.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Sometimes we also like, um, so I also, I'm going to be honest. So when I describe myself and someone asks me to introduce myself, I also need to be very aware if I'm throwing the human thing, but I'm just human, just like you, as a like me deflecting the receiving of that as well, like
Mm-hmm.
the receiving of the space that I hold, and the magic that I bring, so there's also like this sensitivity and awareness that I have to have present when I share that I'm not also deflecting the feedback, that I'm also not deflecting or minimizing the work that I do. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel this is a game that we all kind of play. Uh, for me, I would rather play that game than the game of like the influctuated spiritual ego. I would rather play the humble human than the influctuated spiritual one. But again, they are both like also unbalanced, right? Like whether it's one or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this constant, we're literally always learning. And I feel that we, as people who are like teachers or space holders or energy workers, I feel we are just as activated by others as they are from us and our work, you know, that
Yeah.
it's a mutual thing that happens because um, also the more we do our energy healings or we hold space or we teach something and then we see the transformation in the other person and we receive their feedback, it also activates us more into the remembrance that our power actually does something to other people and that the work we do is really sacred and felt and received by others. So I feel I said this in the activation membership a while ago, like um, when we teach, we also learn. And when we learn, we're also teaching. So whether I am now the space holder holding space for someone, or I'm the one who is being held by someone else's space, like there is a co-creative energy between the two people, between the two souls. That is what I mean is that both are giving each other something. So it's not just like I'm going for an energy session and I'm receiving it. I'm not the only one receiving it. The other person is also receiving something. So it's always a co-creation, whether we are the ones holding space or having space held for us. There is always this co-creation, and this brings me back of why I called it activation. It's because activation is what happens when we put two people together, like even if they are triggering each other, like that's also an activation, right? So
Yeah.
whatever it is, it's just the more we bring people together, the more this activation happens. And I feel, and I've been feeling this for many years, where I saw so many of my friends and spiritual people and energy healers and all of that who are like so alone, like so alone and like so separate from everyone else. And just by being awake, we are already a little bit alienated from most of society. But when we're also alienated from the other star seeds and light workers and energy healers, it's like, no, like, no, let's come together. And of course, we will have different perspectives sometimes. Of course, we will have different ways of doing things and different beliefs, and there will be nuances. But when we come together, even if it's triggering, it's an activation that we all need. And I feel that for us to truly make a difference on Earth, honestly, I don't think it's you alone doing your thing and me alone doing my thing. Well, that works, but at some point, I feel like we need to hold hands, like we need to collaborate, and sometimes also see where our nuances of our egos and preferences need to chill for something bigger to occur. Like something like, I don't care if you eat meat or if you're a vegan, if you believe this or you believe that, can we still work together and can we still build something? Because we are humans, of course we will have different experiences. That's literally what being human is. But can we still come together? Can we chill our egos, uh, where we can like still honor the differences that we have, but come together to collaborate and to create something? So this is, I feel this is like one of the things that that resonates for me most right now. It's not just to do like one-on-one work, but it's like to bring people together. Yeah, I really feel this is so necessary right now, more than ever. Yeah, I don't necessarily resonate anymore with meditating on a mountain by myself my whole life to reach enlightenment, and just like just transcending and being separate. I really feel that we've done that in other lifetimes, and now we honor the human and we honor the differences and we still come together.
Yeah, thank you. And it really resonates. Um, I knew I couldn't do this like just as Jon Binnie with my little background and my microphone and do this like all day every day by myself and um I don't know, make the most amazing, metaphysical superpowers for myself and have a business in isolation. I felt like it would be very lonely. And my my reaction to that was it was actually my wife said, uh, why don't you learn something more relatable that people can connect with and it's been fun. Like I love playing music and live with people, but even music, even a guitar is like it's like a barrier sometimes between you and others. Um, and the work I'm now doing with uh, reflexology, I'm about halfway through, well, maybe two-thirds the way through the diploma now. Um, I'm just after this chat. I'm also talking to the hospice in the city to do volunteering work once a week there, and it's really funny because um, I just don't, and I'm still not entirely sure why it is so completely perfectly aligned. But there is magic in that work, and I know I can help other people, and I know there's a lot of humility and humanity for me to learn about being able to help people in a hospice. But there's more, and I don't know what it is yet. But I know that there's these already. The people that I'm meeting, they're magical, like they're just incredible angels, and I know that being with them and touching people's feet, massaging people's feet is like is a real honor. And as you said as well, like I really love receiving reflexology, and we do that in our classes together. Sometimes we're receiving for about 4 hours, and it's really intense, but really beautiful. Um, and I see a lot of the people in that work. Um, they've gone into it because they've uh, they've they've had a loved one that who's died, has passed on, but before they died, they were able to help them with pain relief with meditation or massage or reflexology, and for those moments that they're able to connect and touch them, that it made a huge difference to their lives. Um, and just like why I chose to join your membership, I felt like I'm starting a membership group. I need to be a member in other people's membership groups because I need that in my life, and I also need to connect with others and in part learn and in part give back. I feel like um, that really helps me, and I also do like I try and do like every month an energy exchange where with the purpose of me receiving healing. So I find a healer that I resonate with, and I we'll do work for each other, and that purpose is for me to receive as well. And I definitely feel like the more the more I learn to create and to give in lots of different modalities, the more I have to learn to receive and to scale up my ability to receive. And there's magic in those modalities. Like you say, when we come together, I have so many friends that have such different beliefs to me, and there's beauty in that. There's that's why we're here, right? We're all unique to come together and to see and honor those differences between us, and in many respects to celebrate them. And yeah, thank you for bringing me back to those experiences.
Mm. Wow, thank you for sharing that. Like for me, I also joined, it was because I joined also a membership that I felt called to create my own. And I realized a membership is exactly what I've always wanted to create, which is a safe space for community. And I was like, oh, this is the answer that I've been looking for. More that more than one-on-one, more than all of that. It's like the community, the group, the connections. And I also joined another membership. I'm actually now in two different ones, to also receive, to communicate, to be there, to have that nurturance, and then to also get activated and inspired by what someone else is doing, and seeing like if there are bits and pieces that I would like to add to mine, or do something different, but also like get inspired by what other people are doing. And it's funny because this membership that I joined is about somatic work, which I feel was something that was missing from what I shared. So it's funny because it's so funny like that this is all coming together even in this conversation. I shared before that I was in this container that was like very energetic and spiritual and all of that, but it didn't have the somatic work and the humanness presence. And when I left that container, I felt like I kind of fell, and there was like nothing to like hold me because it was too energetic, like traveling to Egypt and doing all these activations and all of that. But then the emotions, the human, the body were not held and nurtured enough. And then I prayed to find something to help me with that. And I found this membership. And when I found that membership, I was like, this is the missing piece in all my work. And I realized that I was already adding that without knowing that that's what I was doing. So when someone would come to me for example, an oracle card reading, I would really focus in the beginning and the end to ground them, to really connect with the earth, like to not just be like a reading that you do and nothing changes, but to actually ground so that it's actually like becomes embodied. So I realized that I was already doing that without noticing that. And now my membership, one of the main things that I'm adding there is like the somatic work. I feel this is so freaking important. And I will dive into that even more in the next few months when I feel guided to create again. Because right now I tried today, I tried it. It's still not happening. It's like, no, 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 stop. Because like creating constantly can also be like running, like a running. And it's like, stop running, stay here, be there. Even if it's uncomfortable, be there. So soon I will share more about that when it comes through. But right now, I'm just being called to be here. But yeah, like the aspect of a membership, and I love that you also felt inspired to create your own because I see it, and I shared this on a live a few days ago or a few weeks ago. A membership is like the internet is like a shopping mall. Then we have our little Instagram or our YouTube, which are like little shops that we have. And then when we invite people into that to stay there, it's like we are inviting people to our membership. Is like instead of just doing one energy healing to one person, or how do you say, being with them for like a few months, you can actually hold space for more people, and because they are together they also activate each other and go through these different things just because there are more energies present. So yeah, I realized after being in a membership that, oh, this is the thing that I was really wanted to create in my services that I didn't know. Like, oh, I just create a membership, and it's a community space. And and unfortunately, I've also been in community spaces, physical and online, that didn't feel so safe. I've been there. And because I've been there, I wanted to create something that truly felt safe. Um, so that's also how this is being birthed. And I love how the flow of our conversation is just happening so naturally and going back and forth on these subjects. Um, Yeah, it's really beautiful. I really appreciate this, John. It's like we are having a dance with words. Thank you.
That's right. It's like spirals. It's like weaving around. And yeah, I love that. Thank you. I I also reflected that when I learn to receive more, I start to understand my own self-worth. And when I understand my self-worth better, I'm better at being able to see myself and like where I am on my journey when I connect with others. Um, and so when when in the past when I felt in lack, I would idolize someone. When I feel down here, I would look at someone, maybe a mentor or a teacher, and I would idolize them, and I would separate that. I'd create that distance between them and me, and I started to realize as I grew my self confidence and grew my self love that actually it's quite harmful for me to do that because I push myself down and I push them up and I create this gap um and it doesn't and it also doesn't always feel safe because I feel like when I would do that with people, I would almost like create these imaginary steps in between the journeys, like that I couldn't go from where I am now to becoming them, which is a really funny thing to say because the universe sets us out each on our own individual paths, and we all get to choose individually where we go, how we develop, what we do. And when we try and create these artificial links between each other, like if I was to say to you, I want to be exactly like you, you'd be like, but I don't want another me here. I want John. Like I want, like, tell me about yourself. Don't pretend to be me. And and I found that really helped me is um I think what helped me the most was when I started teaching other people and I first pitched my training courses to people that were brand new, like newly awakened, like they were just like something had happened in their life and they were like activated. Um and then what I got was, even though that was a pitch, that was my energy, that was my vision. That's not what happens. People have come to me that are often many years into their journeys, and I started to see in myself them. I saw some similarities in their journeys in me, and I realized actually there's I've achieved things that I need to acknowledge that I have achieved. And then there's things that these people, like we are saying earlier, they're teaching me. Like I love that. I love to be taught. And every time in a session now with whether it's a one-to-one session or the teaching, I always make quite a lot of space for them to share the magic that they've shared. And I every single session learns so much. And although it is more uncomfortable for my ego to say that my students taught me. How did I learn all these things? My students taught me. It is it is true, and I love that, and I embrace it now. Um, and so yeah, that's also helped me. I think I'm part of 3 membership groups, and I did have a pretty bad experience in one of them quite recently, and that really helped me learn some of my boundaries. Like, what do I want? Like, how safe do I want people to feel? What do I want them to be able to do? And what are my boundaries? And so these ways of being able to connect with each other, we learn so much from each other instead of, as you were saying earlier, in isolation. Um, Up on the mountain meditating, um we just become like the Zen master that walks down to the village and gets their foot run over and go, I'm still angry inside. You don't really do the work. um so yeah, I feel like there's always that part of me every day that I'm like getting my foot run over and I'm like, it's okay, John, you've got a foot, you're human. Let's see what the lesson was here and let's work through it.
Mhm. I love what you shared about what's the word? I when we are idolizing, is that the word?
Yeah,
Someone?
yeah.
Yeah, then we literally create these types. And it's all made up. It's all made up. And we create, not, this is also not to bypass the work that needs to happen, like in inside and outside, to have or be something that we see someone else have or be or have. But at the same time, it's like we create these stairs and this separation that is made up in our mind, when in the very first place we were never meant to be there. We were meant to be right here. And so I'm not supposed to do it like someone else is doing it, or to be like someone else is doing. The whole point is that I do it in my own way, and for that I need to feel that those stairs that I see from me and the other person, those can be inspiring. Those can be like things that I know I can do and develop. But at the same time, it's like finding that I I myself am that staircase. That staircase is me. It's not something separate that I need to achieve. It's like the achievement is me. I am the achievement. That every day I'm like closer and closer to it. And again, there's no like, oh, I got it, I'm there. No, it's like always moving until we die. Like it's an ongoing journey. And so we get to be both maybe more gentle with ourselves, and at the same time more aware and precise, and taking action. Again, it's the balancing of both. and and yeah, like it's so funny because this conversation that we are having right now feels like a portal. And I wonder how it feels for you, because for me it feels like a portal from the, like, you need to stop all posting on social media. And it feels like I had, and I'm still there, like not posting and just being present and observing. And this conversation feels like it has all these golden nuggets that I've been praying for and looking for, that are just being unraveled in our conversation again. It's so different to meditate on a mountain and figure things out. But when I have a mirror, when I'm talking to someone, you just give me all these golden nuggets and all these mirrors that maybe would take me so much longer to figure out. But just because we're having this conversation, it's so much more tangible and easy just by you sharing your own experience. So maybe as you're sharing, you don't even have like this intention of like helping me, but just you sharing your experience is helping me with my experience, and vice versa. And that's also like the magic and the beauty of like connections and sharing and being together in a space, and just sharing what's present for me, sharing what's present for you. And naturally what we share kind of activates each other, and brings these answers and these golden nuggets that maybe would take us longer to figure out by ourselves. So this conversation is like reawakening within me the remembrance of why I created the membership in the first place. It's like the flame of the membership is becoming so much stronger and more ignited by this conversation. And I just said that, and I just looked at your thing with the flame, but then you put your
Sorry.
hand there, like, oh my god, whoa! Like, and I just looked at it, like I've seen it, but as I was sharing this, I looked at it, and I was like, oh, the flame, and then you put your hand, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. So it's also like activating the remembrance within me of the why I created it, what is my vision for it, and being activated in that also is like magnetic for the people who are meant to join. So whew, yeah, what a beautiful like weaving that's happening right now. Thank you. And for everyone watching, me and John had scheduled this to happen before, I think one or two times,
Yeah.
or once, and then I thought it was last Monday, but then it wasn't, and it was this
That's right. Yeah.
Monday. And like it literally had to be today. It literally had to be like right now, today, for it to have this impact and this weaving and this beauty. It had to be today. So it's so beautiful that we scheduled this to happen before, but that it's happening right now.
It is divine timing. And yeah, and thank you for both sharing and receiving so many golden nuggets. Like I absolutely feel that. Um, I for all the questions that my spirit guides can't answer me, it's always the human ones. What do I do with the bill? How do like where should I go out for a walk in the rain? The things that I need help with as a human. And thank you for being such a shining example of both the embodiment and the vulnerability and the humility, and at the same time the drive and the passion and the fire as well. Like you're always driving forwards on your vision, and I know you see, like I do, that we are our own visions, we are our own businesses, we are our own um, behaviors, and so we can't just write down on paper that we want to earn a salary or have a certain number of followers, or it can't just be that. It has to be us too, and they're intertwined. And here I am about to stop tomorrow as I'm up at 4 a.m. to get a flight to America. It's like it you also had to catch me. I only knew last Thursday that I was going. And so we had to catch each other at this exact divine moment where you've paused, I'm about to pause. Because otherwise you'd get me in like, I'm gonna do something amazing tomorrow, in my mind, going, oh yeah, like stop, yeah, John, stop creating. Like I would be just a voice to myself, but it's the action of stopping that I've stopped. I've done it. I've stopped.
Wow. Wow, like yeah, it's such an intersection of like me just having 1 week off, which I don't remember ever doing that. And now you about to start your week, or what how many days or time off. It's so synchronistic that it's happening like this. And there's two things you shared that I wanted to touch on, which is sometimes we ask for guidance for something out there, our guides or the universe, but the guidance is given by other humans. And I love that so much. And the other thing is like, this is like the manifestation, law of attraction, all of that thing, where it's like, I really want to be a singer, but then you never sing. And it's like, something is missing in that equation. And it's like, universe, I want lots of followers on social media, but then you never post anything. And it's like, there's something that is like the equation needs all these elements. And there are some elements on our part that are missing. So we're asking the universe or whatever for these ingredients for the recipe. But then we need to realize that I have a very important ingredient that the universe cannot give me. It has to come from me. And so this is also like the awareness of when we want to manifest something, that it manifests through us, not just something that happens. And of course you can, for example, manifest receiving a lot of money without doing anything. That has also happened in my life. The most crazy stories where money just appears in my account, like large amounts, without me doing anything. And at the same time there are other things where it's like I actually do need to take action, you know and that those dreams don't just happen to us, they happen through us. Like I am the dream that I'm dreaming alive, like. And so these things that we want to manifest in our lives, they happen with our action, with our embodiment. And again, sometimes it's about taking action and pushing forward even when it's uncomfortable. And sometimes it's like you're taking too much action and you need to actually stop. And you need to trust that if you stop, this is like the lesson that I'm learning right now personally, that if I stop, the momentum is not gonna like crash, but that it will build up. and allow my human mind and ego that is like very taking action and all of that to like lean back and like relax and be more in my, you could say, like feminine energy or whatever, instead of thinking that, because there are also two spectrums of people who like just want to manifest but they don't take any action, and people who want to manifest but they take too much action, but they also need to kind of chill and trust a little bit more. So I feel like um we both mastered the showing up part, and now there are these nuances, and like we're also just starting eclipse season in just a few days, and like there's all this magic about to that is already brewing, that is about to create an even bigger momentum. But maybe for that, for us to enter that timeline to surf that wave, we need to stop a little and chill at the beach, just catch the sun, and when the wave comes we're ready to to ride it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you for that. And yeah, I feel ready. I feel ready for the wave, but I'm gonna take a bit of time to to prepare myself and and receive that energy as it comes. Thank you so much for your connection today, for your energy and your wisdom and all of these golden nuggets. And it's just an honor to weave with you. um, and I hope that whoever's watching um, are recording together or listening in a podcast takes time too. They take time to absorb these messages, perhaps even listen or watch again, and think about what they would like to do in their journeys to help them receive more. And do you have anything else you'd like to share, Madalena?
Yes, thank you, John. Like this was so freaking beautiful and divine, and at the same time so easy. Like it's so easy to talk with you, and like to the conversation just happens naturally, and I really appreciate that, how easy it is to just connect and share. That's that's like something very special, that it's so easy. So I just want to thank you and appreciate you for all that you do and for who you are, and and also like for honoring this pause and to nurture yourself in that way. And I just want to reflect that I see you and I feel you, and I just reflect so much love that I feel for you. I want to reflect that back to you with really deep appreciation for your presence and your sharing always. And yeah, this feels like it's just the beginning, and I'm excited to witness and to be a part of all that's to come. Thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I could pause for 5 minutes. I just received that. Thank you. Well, I would like to, yeah, thank you so much for coming along today. And I'd love to chat again at whatever time we're brought together divinely. And please do. I'm sure I'll be adding links in wherever this is shared. Please check out Madalena's incredible work and join the membership. Like if you want to hear me share my human stories and all the other beautiful souls, and then you'll come to a very safe space. And yeah, just thank you so much. And I wish you all the best for your future. And I will stop our recording at that. Thank you so much, and we'll see
Thank
everyone
you.
again next time.
Thank you. Bless everyone. Mhm.